I've always heard about how hard middle school is socially. Everyone is trying to figure out who they are, but they still feel the need to fit in. This was exactly how I felt starting 6th grade at T. In 6th grade, I was pretty shy and I had no clue how I was going to make friends. And I think that's what scared me the most. Not that I was starting a new school, or that the teachers might be mean, or even that the work would be too hard. It was the thought of being alone that terrified me. How was I going to fit in? This thought replayed in my head over and over as my class left for our first backpacking trip. I was also struggling a lot with my mental health at the time, which made the thought of being away from home even scarier. The thing is, the trip actually helped me make friends faster. I was able to get to know everyone better, and so I became close with most of the girls. This camping trip accelerated bonding between me and my friends, bonding that may have taken way longer at a different school. Throughout countless trips at T, each one has brought me closer to my crew, but that's not to say every trip goes according to plan. It's not always smooth, and there are always bumps. Like when I woke up on the second day of that same trip and I didn't feel well. I had a headache and I started to worry I was going to get a panic attack. Well, I started to worry it was going to get worse, which of course led to me having a panic attack. Luckily, Gigi was so sweet and she helped me stop panicking. And then the whole hike back, she walked with me and kept checking in to make sure I was feeling all right. This is just one of the many times she's helped me and stood by my side when things got hard. Reflecting back on that memory, I can see how much I've grown and changed since that first trip. This change is significant to me because before middle school, I was always scared to put myself out there. I remember not wanting to go to soccer practice unless one of my friends was going to be there, and a lot of the time I was scared to get out of the car until I saw a familiar face. I spent so much time worrying about what others thought of me, it started to impact things I enjoyed doing. I remember that the summer going into 6th grade, I did a summer camp, and I didn't know anyone that first morning, so my stomach hurt a lot, and I thought it'd be fine the next day, but it wasn't. Even though I had made friends, I was still scared, and for those next 2 weeks of that summer camp, I felt horrible every single morning. At the time, these experiences made me wonder if I'd ever be able to conquer these feelings of self-doubt. But looking back, I can see small changes in myself and how now things are different. One of the things that impacted my confidence were the people I was hanging out with. I felt like I could be myself around them, and I didn't need to change who I was for them to like me. I learned that friendship isn't always about having the perfect thing to say. It's about the people who stand by your side and who will help you no matter what. With those friendships starting to grow stronger, middle school wasn't as scary. 7th grade went by in a blur. The Monterey trip stands out the most to me. This trip was the longest I had ever been away from my family, but I didn't need to be as worried as I was like on that 6th grade trip, because I knew that my friends would have my back and I would have theirs. On the drive down, it was so much fun. We blasted music, ate candy, and when we finally got to the campsite, everyone was super excited, and so we all set up really quickly and went down to the ocean and played in the water until sunset. That trip felt different than the 6th grade ones. I felt closer to my friends more than ever, and I started to feel more confident with the person I was becoming. After that trip, the rest of the year flew by, and I finally felt as though the hardest part of middle school was over. But then came 8th grade. And let me just say it wasn't anything how I expected. For some reason, in my mind, I decided that 8th grade was going to be the best year ever. I thought that since I was older and more confident in myself, things would be easier. But 8th grade challenged me in ways I never could have expected. The schoolwork was so much more intense than before, assignments and homework piled up, and the things we were learning about became really confusing. Most of the teachers expected a lot more from us, and everyone was starting to get ready for high school, and I felt as though I wasn't close to being ready. I thought 8th grade would be an easy year. I thought I'd no longer have all that weight on my shoulders, but I was wrong. I felt as though I was being crushed by a mountain. I went from feeling prepared all the time to feeling like I was constantly falling behind. Balancing school, sports, and personal time started to become exhausting, and I had such high expectations for myself. So when I didn't succeed or get the grade I wanted, I became frustrated. And when my friends would get a higher grade than me, I would compare myself to them and think things like, how do they understand this? And why can't I be as good at school as them? I felt like I wasn't prepared, and I hated the feeling of falling behind. The hardest subject for me is math. Going into 8th grade, I was already stressing a lot about failing math in high school. But then I met our math teacher, Shelby. She understood how to help me, and I started to understand the work we were doing. She was always willing to stay after school to help me with homework, and I started to feel more confident in my math skills. And then one day in crew, she told us she wasn't going to be our math teacher anymore. and I was shocked because I didn't know how I was going to continue to feel secure and successful, not only in math, but in life in general. The thought of her leaving halfway through the year was very overwhelming. And after that, there were a lot of moments when I wanted to stop caring about the work and just get the year over with. But I decided to keep pushing. And even though Shelby was no longer my teacher, I realized I had other teachers, my friends, and family who were there to support me. And I didn't need to go through all this stress alone. I now know life isn't going to be perfect. It's full of surprises, and you can never know exactly what's going to happen. Going to school here at T has taught me that. From camping trips where I had to sleep on the ground because my sleeping pad had a hole in it, or schoolwork being way harder than I thought. I've learned that you need to accept what happens and make the best of it. As I mentioned before, my mental health was something I was really struggling with in 5th and 6th grade. I got these really bad migraines that were so painful, and a lot of the time I didn't want to go and do things because I was scared I would get them. I had to go to the hospital the very first time I got one because I didn't know what was happening, and it was really scary. Those next 2 years, I lived in a constant fear that I would keep getting them, and so I was super careful about what I ate and did. This was one of the reasons I was so nervous to go on that first 6th grade trip. But as time passed, I felt sick a lot less, and so I started to do more. Not only did T give me growth opportunities through trips, but through sports as well. I decided to join the track team because a lot of my friends were doing it, and I thought it'd be fun. That's when I figured out that running actually helps my mental health a lot. It's hard to explain, but when I'm running, I feel calm and I don't need to worry about anything. I just focus on my breathing and putting one foot in front of the other. After figuring out that running was something that helped me feel better, I decided to keep doing it. I think another reason I like running is because it's not the kind of sport where I need to worry about messing up and it affecting my team. If I have an off day in a team sport, I feel horrible, as if I brought the whole team down with me. I feel my mistake is why we lost, or because I missed that one pass, now all my teammates are going to be disappointed in me. I care so much about playing well that one misstep brings down my entire mindset. And I already worry too much about what others think of me. So realizing that when I run, the mistakes I make only affect me was such a relief. Now don't get me wrong, I love team sports. But when I'm running and something goes wrong, I'm the only person I can blame. There is no one I need to worry about disappointing but myself. And I know that when you're on a team, the point is you support each other, and if you fail together. Unfortunately, that's something I've always struggled to convince myself of. As I work on becoming more confident, I know that I will need to learn that not everything is always my fault, and I can't control what others think of me. Track helped me find the balance of focusing on myself and my individual outcome while still having fun with my teammates. Participating in all T sports has helped me with that. Middle school did not turn as I expected, 8th grade especially. But maybe that's the point. Yes, there were many challenges and so many times when I wanted to quit school, but there were lots of good times too. Moments that made all the hard parts worth it. Looking back and comparing myself to that terrified 6th grader I was, the one who was afraid no one would like her and she'd have no friends, to the person I am now is eye-opening. I noticed changes in myself that I never thought I would see. Yes, I'm still learning and I'm definitely not as confident as I'd like to be, but maybe that's okay. I still have moments of self-doubt, but I've learned that growth doesn't happen all at once. It comes from those little moments, times when you overcame a challenge or learned from your mistakes. I also think being here at T has helped me step out of my comfort zone a lot. Whether it's from camping trips or being placed in a tent or car group with people I don't normally hang out with, to advocating for myself when I need help. I know that these seem like small things, but for me, there are big steps I'm taking to become the best version of myself. I now realize middle school wasn't about being the perfect experience. It was about learning how to ask for help and problem solve. It was about being there for others while still getting the support I needed and learning that I can help and depend on myself. It was about continuing to grow even when things got hard. These experiences T has shown me and the things I have dealt with have shaped the person I am. Every obstacle I have faced has made me into a stronger, better person. And as I finish middle school, I may not have everything figured out yet, but I have a better understanding of myself, and being here at T has made me come to the conclusion that while I was so busy trying to fit in, I stumbled upon true belonging. Thank you.